Hey beautiful people. So this is the Galactic Mayan Astrology report for the 3rd of September 2019. And I just want to say before I start that I am offering lots of different readings now. So if you want to know a little bit more about your astrological profile from a Mayan perspective, but also from a human design perspective, have a little look at my website. I've left it in the comments box below. So yeah, the energy that we are moving forward into is the energy of Red Skywalker. So Red Skywalker energy, is a red sign. So it's about awakening, it's about initiation, it's about beginning. And red is a pretty fiery sign, so it's quite an action-focused sign. And the energy of Red Skywalker is really about being able to be spanning multiple dimensions. So again, Skywalker and the Wizard are very similar signs in a lot of ways. There's this real opening to, different dimensions that we can access on this plane and access through the human being body. But the Skywalker energy is really about being able to bring what we see, bring what we learn, bring what we experience in these higher dimensional states into this space. So oftentimes, with drugs and with meditation and with, plant medicines, there's this thing about really getting out and, experiencing on one level a truth of reality. But then what can often happen is that people then decide that they don't feel comfortable being in this reality anymore. And the Skywalker journey is about being able to be the messenger. It's the energy of like Hermes. It's the energy of being able to sort of pop up into the greater reality and then bring that down and recognize that we are here doing a human being path. We are here doing a human being journey. And, that is the anchor, And yes, the greater reality does exist. And yes, the greater reality is the greater reality. But the reality that we are anchored in as a human being is lower, for now. We're on this planet. So within this energy and within this Wavespell, we're really getting to see how we actually live it. Yeah, so how do we embody the teachings? How do we step forward in our lives from a place of holding that awareness, as opposed to it being the one or the other? And this is the shadow of the Skywalker. There's a difficulty being here, but also there's like a split personality. So it's like, yeah, I'm a super hippie in this realm and with these people, whatever super hippie means, but you know what I mean? You're like this open awareness. But then when I'm in front of my family or wherever I'm at work, I am this other person. So the Skywalker journey is about really being able to hold that awareness of the experiences that we have and, what we feel is kind of going on outside of the mundane, whilst being in the mundane. It's about allowing ourselves to be seen, and it's about operating from that place of authenticity consistently, as opposed to having to be in a certain environment in order to be that part of ourselves. And it's again that perception of reality, which is something that kind of ties into this wizard energy of being able to map the greater reality in the present. So no matter where we are, whether we are, I don't know if you've seen any of my previous videos, but there was one that I was doing for the, the 13-year cycle. If we're in a service station, it's just as cosmic as being sat in ceremony in a circle. And it's the recognition that, it's all the waking dream. So again, when, we're working with Skywalker energy, there's like a tendency to be checking out, and that, especially at this time on planet Earth, is rampant because, there's a lot of shit to feel. And I think we've kind of opened up our capacities for feeling so much again. We probably were there in the past and then closed, and now we're opening again. But we've opened up so much that means that anything that's niggly feels 10 times worse. Anything that we can perceive that's going on the world stage at the moment can feel really, really, really difficult to cope with. And, the one thing that I would say on this element of the topic is that we need to be grounding in love, not fear. You know, because whatever we are vibing at is what we are giving, regardless of what our words are doing, regardless of what our actions doing. If we're in fear, that's what we're sort of giving to the collective. So it's really about love, you know, anchoring that and that being the force. But yeah, so when it comes to the Skywalker, you know, there's a tendency to check out because we're overwhelmed with the emotion, but also it's more comfortable, you know, to be in the non-human state, you know, for the consciousness to be out of the body, essentially. So it's all well and good having a brief like, ooh, okay, that's cool, bringing it down. That's the Red Skywalker journey. It's about being able to perceive and hear and experience, but then how do we actually integrate that? So in a similar vein to, you know, the yellow moon energy, the yellow sun energy, which is about the integration of the whole, it's again an integration. It's an integration of the higher parts of us with our human being selves, you know. And like personally, I've been on such a huge journey with all of this because I created such a falseness, you know, of personality when I was younger that was very, very difficult then to unhook, because I could recognise who I was or who I wasn't. But when you built relationships with people in a false version of self, it's then very difficult, or it takes a lot of effort to rewrite that. So when we're working with this energy, when we're working with, you know, this space of, you know, the integration, sometimes that means that we've got quite a lot of rewriting to do. If all of a sudden we're showing the truth of ourselves, and that truth of ourselves doesn't necessarily have to be the hippy-dippy self, it can be the assertive self. It can be the self that isn't here to people please. It can be the self that's here that actually feels pretty shitty at the minute. You know, it's about the authenticity. You know, it's like bringing in the whole of ourselves, not just like the cosmic self, but also like all of it, you know, like the deeper parts of ourselves that are really deep feeling. How can we show up with that? The really vulnerable part of ourselves, how can we show up with that? You know, how do we rewrite the version of ourselves? Because I read an amazing thing recently which super duper vibed about how, you know, every single person that we've met has got a different picture of us and they know us as a different person. So how can we try and integrate all of that? How can we rewrite all of that when we're coming from a place of authenticity as opposed to people pleasing? So the Skywalker journey is also about allowing like the highest parts of ourselves, whatever that means, into, you know, waking life. So it's about, you know, also our capacities that are not necessarily mapped within traditional perspectives of human beings. So, you know, psychic elements of ourselves, or the super creative elements of ourselves, or, you know, anything that feels to come from that place of depth, that place of truth, that place of whatever, that we don't really cognitively understand. How do we make more space within our lives to be living that, to be opening to that? So again, like I say, so that it's a red sign, so that means that it's very much about action, you know, when we're working with this. So like, what action steps can you take to make more space for the whole of yourself to show up? What steps can you take to limit the amount that you are escaping from reality? How much awareness can you hold about that? You know, even though you might be within a community of people in which it's very normal to be checking out, to be going and partying every weekend, to be sat in ceremony every weekend, to be, you know, meditating for ridiculous amounts of time. I'm saying ridiculous in a, not in a, like, it's ridiculous as in like an extended amount of time. You know, it might be very common within your social spheres or within, you know, the experiences of life that you've developed to do these things. But how much awareness can we hold of like, okay, so am I actually bringing anything back? What is my life reflecting to me when I'm not in an altered state? Am I as balanced as I feel like I am when I'm in that other space? You know, am I as connected as I feel like I am when I'm in that other space? You know, is that what is actually vibing in the life that's the raw human being me that's here, that's untampered with? And, you know, what can I do to make that heaven on earth that I may experience in other states anchored into the heaven on earth that is just the life that I live now, you know? So within this Red Skywalker journey as well, we're going to get the opportunity to see, you know, our relationships with other people as well, and, you know, the enabling relationships, and how we can come and find balance within that too. So there's also, you know, a real opportunity to level up this Wavespell, because as we allow ourselves to drop into the space where we can embody the whole of ourselves and allow that energy through us, allow our higher self to live through us, as opposed to allowing our higher self in when we have taken XYZ, or when we're in a very sort of secluded meditative state. You know, how can we allow our higher self in more, so that that's what is stepping forward through life. So like I say, within this Wavespell, there's an opportunity to really allow, itchy nose, really allow, sometimes the energy does this, allow our knowing to be the thing that's stepping forward in our lives. And like I say, you know, the more that we work with that energy over the course of this Wavespell, because, you know, when we're doing these Wavespell journeys, everything that I share, it's just like, this is the kind of flavour of the energy. So if we choose to, we've got like a green light or a big doorway into this element of personal development if we choose to go through it. So it's also a time to look at when we've had like damage done to ourselves psychically, when we've had experiences, you know, within these different states, within these different realms that we've closed to, any sort of old religious threads that have kind of programmed us into thinking that these things are bad. You know, all of these different realms, all of these different strings to the situation are ripe to be worked with and cleared this Wavespell. So I know that obviously there's been quite a lot of experiences that people, especially clients that I've worked with, have had with Christianity, and, you know, abusive things that have kind of gone with that, and, you know, this idea of the devil and, you know, dark energies and all of that. So this is a really potent time to be clearing those beliefs about the reality that we are experiencing in different states. And yeah, so it's like, it's really a time where the veil is thinner, so we're able to really receive the messages, you know, and receive insight and receive guidance. But the key is getting then ourselves into a space where we clear out what is in the way of actually embodying that and allowing that to be lived, as opposed to having to rely on the cards when we need to make a decision. It's like, okay, what is that inside part of me feeling? What is the highest part of me guiding me to? And then if we want to check the cards, check the cards. But for that not to be, you know, the reliance on that, it's like bringing that part of us that is able to speak to us through reality into us all the time, or as much as we possibly can, and getting rid of, you know, all of the fears and all of the old stories that prevent us from doing that. So it's quite a cosmic Wavespell, you know, and it's something that, you know, the Skywalker is also a super loving energy. It's action, so there'll be, you know, things that come in for you to step into differently if you choose to. It's a starting, so it's a red, so it's a starting, there's an initiation, there's things that'll probably come in, you know, for the first time. If you've got any like dormant capacities that you feel like, oh, you know, I feel like I am really creative, or I feel like I am a bit psychic, or whatever, like going to a class, into a space, into you know, an environment where you can really develop those gifts, it's a really potent time to do that. So I hope that you have a wonderful Wavespell. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm offering lots of different readings now. It's always really fun to do, you know, to look at your astrology chart, and we go quite deep because I'll look at lots of different rungs of the ladder. So real focus on Mayan astrology. So we look at your sign, we look at your Wavespell, we look at your 13-year cycle, but then combining that with human design analysis, which shows how your specific human being vehicle works and the best way to step into life. It's really that, you know, Red Skywalker journey. It's like, here's the cosmic imprint of your soul, here's the human being self, put them both together, boom, we're off. So have a little look at my website that's in the comments box below. Have a wonderful Wavespell, and thank you for watching.